Hey guys, Spartan85 here. Today I'm bringing you guys some tips and tricks I threw together for 7 Days to Die 1.0 on PC, Xbox, and PS5. Now some of these tips and tricks you may already know, but hopefully some of these you don't, and it'll make you a better 7 Days to Die player. Of course, let me know what you think in the comments, and feel free to share any other tips and tricks you have with the community in the comment section. My first tip is to use skills to find more books that you're actually looking for. For example, if you're trying to make better tools, put points into Miner 69er as it'll let you find more tool books. Or if you're trying to find more spear books to make a better spear, then put points into Spearmaster. Or maybe you're looking for vehicle books, put points into Grease Monkey. And of course, if you ever need to see exactly what book to read to raise that certain level, you can go to the far right where the little hammer is under skills. You can click on, for instance, let's go to clubs. It says reading big hitters will increase the quality of crafted clubs, boost loot odds with Pummel Pete. Next tip is to keep an eye on your challenges. You can earn a lot of XP and trader rewards just by redeeming these. Sometimes you don't even realize you completed them, so make sure to keep an eye on your challenges and get that XP and those trader rewards. Did you know that there's lockable slots now in 1.0? They've kind of changed with the updates, but now you can just click on the little lock at the top of the inventory, and then you can click on which slot you want to unlock or lock. Really nice for if you're sorting ammo or first aid and you don't want it to go into your boxes. When you hit the click sort button, lock it in the inventory and it'll stay there. Are you having trouble trying to figure out what to do at night? Well, if you're not cooking or sorting inventory, you can always start a mine. I recommend not starting one inside your actual base. Start one off to the side, dig a hole, and just start mining. It's a great way to get stone and clay, and then eventually you can also hit random nodes nearby. You can also start a mine on top of a node if you want. And to follow up on top of that, if you're looking for specific nodes, you can find them on the map. Iron is the red blocks, coal is the black, white is nitrate, and then the light blue is lead. Oil shell can be found in the desert, and there's these light brown spots right here. Mining and harvesting resources early game can be really tough on stamina, so keep coffees around. You can put them in your mine, keep them in your base. All they take is coffee grounds, which can be found just about everywhere, and water. And you can make them in the campfire. You can also buy them at the vending machine and from the trader. At your base, I recommend eventually having 3 forges, one for iron only, just making forged iron and iron arrowheads. One just for brass and lead, so you're crafting out bullet tips and bullet casings. And the last one for stone, just for making cement. I do recommend the skill Advanced Engineering because it will unlock workstations a lot faster. It'll allow you to find the books for workstations for crafting them a lot faster, like the dew collector, the forges, the workbench, the cement mixer, and the chem station. Getting down the workbench, in my opinion, is one of the most important early game items you can put down. And followed up closely by the cement mixers so you can get concrete mixing going very fast. When you're at the trader browsing his selection, a couple things I recommend buying early game is cobblestone rocks because it's extremely cheap. I also recommend buying bullet casings, bullet tips, and gunpowder. You can also buy coal and nitrate if he has it, and then craft gunpowder in your tool belt. And then this goes back to the previous tip about workbenches. Being able to craft ammo early game, there is no skill or perk required to craft ammo, you just need the supplies. So you just had bullet tips, bullet casings, and gunpowder, and you can start crafting out ammo very early, and hopefully be crafting out ammo before the first horde, possibly, if you have the workbench down early enough. Another tip for the workbench is use it to craft your items that take a long time to craft. For example, your mining pickaxes, your axes, your weapons that take 2 to 3 minutes, craft those in the workbench. You don't get XP anymore for crafting items like you did in Legacy, or you don't level up your items for crafting them like you did in Legacy. So just crafting them in the workbench is just fine, and it clears up your backpack crafting queue. I also recommend turning on your forges when you leave for the day for looting or doing quests. That way it prevents a lot of screamers from coming into your base, especially at night when you're dealing with screamers and running zombies. I know it's a lot of time easier to run forges and campfires at night because that's when you're at your base, but if you can possibly load them and then turn them on when you leave, that should help your screamer problem just a little bit. You know, you could pick up workstations like the forges and the workbench with a land claim block, place it down, and now you can pick up your workbenches and your forges and your campfires, whatever else. You have chem stations. The forge does need to be completely empty to be able to pick up those, so you have to craft out or smelt out everything that's in the forge. Getting the dew collector down early is a great idea. What's even better is adding the mods that go into the dew collector to allow it to harvest faster. These mods are the gatherer, the tarp, and the water filter. They can all be bought at the trader. I recommend checking the dew collector often, as once it's full, it will not collect anymore, and you're basically just wasting the dew collector. So check it often, grab it, especially when you have the mods in. You'll find 3 murky waters in there very fast. One of the biggest questions I get in the comments of my videos is, how do I access all the shapes of the building blocks? Well, first you have to have a building block in your tool belt. On PC, you'll hold R, then you'll go to the top of the radio menu and go to shapes. On Xbox, it's the X button, the blue X button. You hold that, go to the radio menu at the top and go to shapes. On PS5, it's the square button. Hold that, go to the top of the radio menu and go to shapes. As you're walking through the city or towns or whatever, I recommend checking every mailbox. If it's closed, that means there's magazines or paper in it. If they're open, you cannot check them. But getting magazines like that, it's an easy way to get magazines. You also see the little mailboxes, like the actual newspaper bins in the cities too. Check those. And when you start a quest, it'll reset the mailbox. So make sure to go back and grab that new magazine out of the mailbox. And to follow that up, when you start a quest, before you clear the POI, if you've never been there before, you can clear the POI, go back, start the quest, and actually double loot, basically double dip the quest if you want, or the POI. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll just grab the mailbox and maybe the main stash of the POI, and then I'll start the quest, and then I'll do the entire POI. Because it is a little time consuming to double loot some of these houses, but if you happen to know where the main stash is or the mailbox, it is good to loot it and then start the quest. Candies can be found in vending machines, and they're very helpful. The 2 I use most is eye candy, especially when you're looting. I like if you have a tier 1 or 2, you can actually eat it, use it for the entire POI almost, or you can just use it for the main stash. It raises your loot stage a little bit. The other one I like to carry around is the lock-picking candy. Great for cop cars if you just happen to have one if you just have one lockpick. Get into cop cars without having to fight the horde. Right now, knives are very OP. It's a very fun weapon to use. You can get bleeding damage just by using a bone knife or a hunting knife, and you can put points into deep cuts, which will make the knife even better and find more books. So I do recommend the knives. If you haven't tried knives yet, they're a lot of fun to use. Another fun one is the spears. They have a long reach, keep the zombies back from you. If you put the serrated blade mod on the spear, it has a good chance of causing bleeding damage just with normal attacks. And then there's lots of different spear books you can read that raise the damage per strike. Spears and knives are very fun to use on console if you haven't used them before. If you're coming over from Legacy, they are really fun to use. There's several mods you can put on the clubs that make it a lot better. First is the metal chain mod, which gives you 10% chance to knock down opponents. Next is the metal spikes mod. Each successive hit lowers enemies' armor 20%. Great for armored zombies like the military or the demolisher or the biker. And then next, of course, is the burning shaft mod, which has a chance of catching zombies on fire, which kind of lets them take health damage while you run around in circles around them. I recommend keeping wood spike traps in your hotbar. They're great for main stash zombies when you have 3 or 4 zombies fall on your head. You can put them in doorways, you can funnel them. They're slightly OP right now. Really kill the zombies or stop them or slow them down. Also, it's good if you're getting trampled by a wandering horde, you can just put them in their path and deal with zombies that way. Another thing I recommend in your hotbar is first aid, either first aid bandages or first aid kits. You can just swing over and quickly use them real quick without having to go to your inventory. You can use them while running away from zombies if you're bleeding out or something like that. Another good item to keep in your hotbar or just keep in your inventory are some hatches. You can throw them up in a door. If you know there's several zombies on the other side, you can put a hatch up, open the door, and deal with them that way. You can also just use the little holes in the door that the zombies create, hit them with a spear or a knife or arrows, take them down that way. But hatches are a great way if you don't want to get overrun by a bunch of zombies, or throw a hatch up at the front door if you're worried about wandering zombies coming in through the front door of the house you're clearing. Aiming down the sights of any weapon takes stamina, so sometimes when you're aiming down the sights and you would switch over to melee, you have no stamina. So to fix that, use hip fire if you have to. There are some books that you can read that raise your hip fire accuracy and damage, but just keep that in mind. If you are losing stamina a lot while aiming down the sights, try to use it limited or switch to hip fire more. When up above in a POI and you want to drop down on like a bed or wood pile or something like that, try to look around if you can. Look for an exit. Most exits have a key that you can open. Go for that immediately so you don't get overrun by zombies. And sometimes it's okay to look for another way in instead of dropping down and getting overrun by zombies. But the fun pimps have been gracious enough to give us the keys to open some doors, so keep an eye out for those before you do drop down. Did you know on consoles that vehicles have a sprint button? On PC, of course, it's the shift key, but on consoles, it's the right bumper next to the right trigger. Bicycles, of course, it uses stamina, and the other vehicles, of course, it uses more gas. Sort of like a boost button, but nice little sprint option if you are trying to get somewhere faster. There is a mod that's called the Rad Remover that is really great against radiated zombies. It will disable the regeneration of radiated zombies for 90 seconds, which is really nice. What I recommend is putting that on one weapon, either a pistol or a AK-47 if you have it, and just trying to remember that is your gun for radiated zombies if you have one. It can really help dealing with the radiated zombies. There's lots of different armor options in 1.0. All of them have different perks, different bonuses. I recommend trying to keep a lot for different tasks. I like the farmer outfit and the farmer boots. I like to keep those next to my crops, so I just put them on whenever I harvest crops. You can wear the nerd outfit all the time or keep it back at your base and bring your magazines back and read magazines while you're wearing the nerd outfit because it gives you a chance of getting a bonus magazine when you read it. The lumberjack hat gives you better wood harvest, so you can keep that back at your base, and when you're chopping down trees at night or whenever you do chop down trees, put the lumberjack hat on. Those are just a few examples, but keep an eye on those. You can also scrap them for armor parts. If you're really after armor parts, you can scrap them, keep them there, or you can sell them to the trader. Last tip, guys, is have fun with the settings at the beginning of the game. There's different settings. You can turn off zombies, you can increase zombies, you can do horde every night, you can turn off hordes if you want. There is no right or wrong way to play this game. In the end, it's up to you to have fun with this game. You're the one that paid the money for this. You get to decide how you get to have fun with it. You can also turn on creative mode and bring in different things to try out electricity, try out different horde bases, what works, what doesn't. But have fun with the original settings of the game at the beginning. Some settings cannot be changed once you start on the console version, such as creative mode. You cannot turn it off if you turn it on after you start the game, so keep that in mind. Also on consoles, if you're having trouble with saves, if you only have 2 saves, you can't have more. My good friend Rat Dog put out a video on how to archive those, how to have more saved worlds. I'm going to link his video in my description. Also tag it, but check out his video if you are having issues with only having 2 worlds or you don't have enough worlds on consoles. Like I said, he did a great job on that video. Guys, that's all the tips I have for you guys. Let me know in the comments how I did. Would love to hear other tips and tricks you guys have, and I'll see you guys out there in the wasteland.